Hello, I'm Somi Arian. I'm a tech philosopher and the founder of Impeak. My guests on today's podcast are Brittany Bond and Cohn from Swivel Meta. We spoke about the state of the metaverse, especially since it's been a while since we've gone into the current bear market. And many large corporations who were super excited about getting into the space have somewhat pulled back their resources and their attention. The team at Swivel Meta are well placed to answer these questions because they're helping a lot of brands get into the space and create immersive experiences for their communities. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. So maybe a good place to start the conversation is that I've been a LinkedIn top voice a few years in a row. And one of the things that I do with LinkedIn is that they always ask me to comment on anything to do with Web3 these days. So yesterday, they sent me this thing about how Meta has pulled out their support for NFTs, and they wanted me to comment on that. And I thought this could be a good conversation starter for us because essentially, maybe you can tell me why you think that has happened.
I think right now with the NFTs and wallets, it's just really there's a lot of friction for the average person to get in and start using those things. And it's kind of far out on the right of the spectrum for mainstream companies to start really getting into that. The Web3 companies for sure are already in. So we believe that, the most practical way for companies in the mainstream to start getting in is with just immersive web solutions, right? Where you don't have to have NFTs, but the immersive web is the next evolution of the web. Meaning, today it's 2D. You kind of look at a page, scroll up and down, right and left, and the next evolution is to leverage all this great 3D tech and have nice immersive experiences. And you don't have to have NFTs to do that, right? But the spectrum of the immersive web can eventually include the NFT. So when the friction kind of subsides and they have really good wallet solutions where it's really easy for the average person to get an NFT, they don't have to set up a MetaMask wallet, bury a secret phrase in their backyard because they're worried about somebody robbing them. But that becomes easy, and then you'll start to see the NFTs be a part of all these immersive web experiences and the metaverse take off and all that stuff.
Okay, so you're saying that the immersive web and Web3 are two different things.
I think it's a spectrum, right? And companies and in particular can start out with immersive web experiences and start bridging into what we call Web 2.5, where you mix a little NFT stuff in. As soon as the wallets, it's easy for the average user, like my mom or somebody, to not have to worry about going through the MetaMask or the friction you have to go through to set up one of those wallets today. And it's really easy to get an NFT and see what you have in your wallet. So we think the immersive web expands Web3 too, but you don't have to start with NFTs and having intimate knowledge of wallets and blockchain to get going.
Okay. What do you think, Brittany?
Yeah, so I read a little more about Meta's pivot on the metaverse as well. In reviewing that, to me, their shift towards AI, I think, makes a lot of sense because their approach to the metaverse was so criticized and maybe misaligned with both the immersive web and Web3 initiatives, right? There's so many principles around Web3 in terms of interoperability and just they really didn't meet a lot of the criteria of that Web3 of the Web3 principles. I think there were also some style choices they made. As chief design officer, I have a keen eye to that kind of stuff, and style choices they made. There were a lot of clients we worked with. We work across multiple platforms, metaverse platforms, immersive web solutions. And a lot of our clients struggled to get access to their platforms and, be able to build on them. And I think they just created a lot of barriers to entry that made it challenging for them to be successful in that world. So I think it's a smart choice for them to kind of go more where their wheelhouse is. And I think it, provides opportunities for a lot of other platforms to not have to worry about Meta as competition and more so as a partner, who's going to provide devices and other solutions that really help advance the metaverse and immersive solutions in other ways. So, I think it's a good choice for them, and certainly doesn't mean the rest of the industry is dead. It's just more so not in their wheelhouse.
So they have always been into AI, right? Like the AI has always been a big part of what they do, right? It seemed like with Web3 and the metaverse, they were trying to enter a new space. And you are right, it did worry a lot of people. I think a lot of us in Web3, we were kind of like rolling our eyes to the idea. But on the other hand, them pulling out now, it also seems like it kind of reflects badly on the space. And I have listened, I've been listening to quite a lot of kind of podcasts and conversations lately, for example, with the founder of Stable Diffusion, and what they're thinking about Web3, that and the problems that it has. So why do you think the synonymity between metaverse and Web3 happen? Because if metaverse is primarily about a more immersive web, where did that stem from? How did these two things become synonymous?
Yeah, I think multiple platforms did really attempt, to go full Web3 and having, virtual real estate as NFTs, using crypto as a means of purchasing things in those different metaverse platforms or worlds, having decentralized organizations. I mean, we're still, good partners with Decentraland, and I think there's still a lot of potential there. So I would consider them more of a Web3 solution. Again, there's a spectrum of that. So I think that's where, people can still, align Web3 and the metaverse, and I think that's okay. I think what we're really focused on is solving for where is the demand now, where can people onboard now, rather than waiting for solutions that still need to have a lot of work done for people to really understand them, make them accessible to not just people who are in high tech. And that's where we lean towards the immersive web. Is we don't want someone to have to sync their wallet every time they access an immersive experience that we do think is really captivating for a digital native audience. But not all digital natives have access to crypto wallets right now. Is it safe for young kids to have crypto wallets right now? I'm not sure. There's a lot of factors in that, as well as looking at older generations or people who are not as digital native. We get a lot of asks in our platform to have immersive experiences that are still captivating, but people don't want to have to navigate through it with their WASD keys or arrows. That's just not intuitive to them yet. So there's just this learning curve that we have to go through. And in the meantime, I think it's really important to acknowledge, where are people now? How can we serve them now with new technology that has come about at the same time as Web3 technology? We think there's tremendous value in things like capturing digital wallet information. There's so much marketing insights to gather from that about consumers, where they're spending their money, what communities they're investing in, and all of that. So I think there's that bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 just needs to be acknowledged as far as where we're at right now.
So wait, your company is called Swivel Meta. What is Swivel?
Yeah.
It's got some history behind it, but it was really meant to be able to easily swivel from space to space, right?
Okay.
So you can move from space to space, right? So we're multi-world too, right? So we can build immersive experiences on our white label platform, or we can build them in Decentraland, and we can link them together, and you can swivel back and forth between them real easy. So that's where the word swivel came from. We were just looking for a really cool word that was simple, that would communicate that.
Imagine like I'm I work in a big company, a big brand, and I'm thinking about, okay, what is this Web3 metaverse thing? Should we go there or not? Ideally, what would be my work title to be the person who is in charge of that? Because I know that some companies are already having like a head of Web3 and metaverse, but maybe if a company is not there yet and you want to go in and talk to these brands, what would be the what would be the ideal title of the kind of person that you talk to?
Yeah, a lot of the people we engage with now, as far as our clients, are brand marketing, innovation leads, digital marketing leads, because one, they have some, some background in social platforms, digital platforms that are designed for marketing campaigns, or that are being leveraged for marketing campaigns. We think the immersive web is very much a tool for that as well. And then secondly, a lot of people in innovation, because they're trying to find what does the immersive web offer in terms of value to their business, right? That's their role, to explore how there can be a business case for the immersive web, whether it be just for marketing or for other purposes. So we work with a lot of people in marketing and innovation. Some teams have progressed to immersive solutions teams, or Web3 and Metaverse teams as well. One of our clients, MasterCard, has a really robust team around Web3, crypto, and the Metaverse, which is exciting to see people growing their teams internally. But I would say at the same time, we want to be able to work with people who don't have to augment their entire marketing team or entire innovation team to try out these solutions. So we really try to provide an end-to-end platform in that regard, so that people don't have to invest hundreds or millions of dollars in building out a team and something they're not quite familiar enough with to really know if it's a good investment or not, right? So I think we try to encourage people to think about what skill sets do they have already that are digital savvy, marketing savvy, and just willing to try new things to work with us.
Okay, so wait, imagine, let's say you're at a dinner party, and you're talking to some people that you're meeting for the first time, and somebody asks you, so what do you do? How do you describe what you do? And I'm guessing if you use the term metaverse, they probably say, oh, isn't that thing dead? Like, what happened? It had a moment, and it's nobody talks about it anymore.
Yeah, and so I would say we empower marketers to captivate their digital native audiences with lasting immersive web solutions at the simplest level. And what that means is, you can start creating these awesome virtual experiences and run marketing campaigns with them, lasting marketing campaigns. So you can build a virtual experience, start running a campaign to bring people in, and you can bring them in there and meet them in there. Unlike your 2D web campaigns, where you're just driving somebody to a 2D web page or a PDF file, and they look at it by themselves, you can drive them to an immersive experience where they can be in there with other people and you can meet them in there. And what marketer wouldn't want to do that? And it's as easy as doing it, to a 2D web landing page today.
And so would you say to them that the primary use case of immersive web is for marketing?
That's what we're focused on. So yes.
Okay. And I guess this one goes to you, Brittany, with a lot of companies trying to cut costs right now. We are in a difficult market. How are you seeing marketing budgets being allocated or shifted? I remember speaking to companies, let's say in 2021, even early 2022. It was a lot easier to talk about these things. They were a lot more open to. So how do you deal with that if they say, okay, this is like, that thing is just really not top of mind right now. But how's that affected you, and what do you observe and how do you respond to?
Yeah, I think there are two responses we're getting right now, and certainly we acknowledge the tightening of wallets across many industries. Even some of our really large corporate clients have said, "Hey, we have to pause this because we have multiple initiatives, and we're experiencing cost cutting of various sorts." So that's certainly something we have experienced recently. Others are, committed to the point of saying, hey, look, we have to do this on a tight budget. But at the same time, they're really committed to continuing to educate themselves internally and do, POCs or smaller projects that help them educate themselves internally and inform what projects are going to be most impactful down the line. So we see a lot of organizations just investing more time in figuring out how can I define a use case that is worth investing, a significant amount by trialing it now. So we encourage that quite a bit, is spend this time now to educate yourself so that you're prepared when your marketing budgets do come back.
Mm-hmm. So wait, when you look at the space, when do you think it will realistically come to maturity? When do you think, like, that everybody is going to, when I say everybody, I mean most companies, for example, that they think that they're going to have an actual presence in the space?
Yeah, right now we're really thinking it's kind of a 5-year timeline horizon for all what we call lifestyle brands, right? Lifestyle brands are brands who have strong followers already, brand enthusiasts, if you will, and have a lot of engaging content that they're trying to, find new ways to get that content out. And so I think a combination of the tech evolution to where it's much more seamless, there's better bandwidth within these immersive experiences, et cetera, in terms of how many people can experience them at once, as well as just the learning curve of the users. And 5 years will definitely, I think it will be standard, just the way it's standard to have a social presence with these lifestyle brands. So that's our horizon. But like I said, there's a lot of leaders and innovators right now who know it's the time to start learning, how do I utilize these platforms?
Okay, so going back to you, Wade, so do you agree with that five-year time horizon? And when you are speaking to maybe investors, I'm assuming when you went out and you raised money for this, right? So were you at the time when you were explaining this to them, were you clear to them that this looks like it's going to be a 5-year horizon, or were you at the time thinking maybe that it was going to be earlier? Has that time horizon changed and since you kind of started this business?
It's about the same. We think though the immersive web is here today. That's what people don't understand. They think it's harder than it really is. And so it's just, to start, it's just the internet in 3D, right? Today it's in 2D, it's 3D. It's not hard, but people don't realize that. So we try to make them understand that, these companies that we're talking to. And I think once more companies understand that, you're going to start to see more get in. But I generally, we agree with, by 5 years from now, everybody, is going to at least have a 3D component to their web, if not the whole web in 3D. And some of the customers that we're talking to, they'll tell us this is the future of the web. They see it and they know it. But it takes a while for that to triculate to, the whole ecosystem, all the Web 2 companies. I mean, the traditional Web 2 companies out there.
Okay. Yeah,
podcasts like yours, I think, are going to help them, right? So just listen to this kind of stuff. It's like, it's not hard, and people just think it's harder than it really is right now.
The reason why I asked that is that I generally think of myself as somebody who is really, I would say I'm an early adopter, like the fact that I'm building a Web3 company, I actually pivoted. Initially, it was more a standard kind of content driven kind of model where we would create these content and then we would build a business around it. But now we are becoming more of a platform for other communities to build content on. And it's something that I think about quite a lot, whether the immersiveness of that content, whether it would be more inviting or not for people. And when I think about myself, I'm not really using immersive web in the sense of like going into a metaverse. I feel like there's still too much friction, and there's still like and it just, for me, it kind of reminds me of a video game. Do I necessarily want to be in it? What difference does it make? Like how's that? To give you an example of how I'm thinking about this is, let's say, for example, right now we have got these live sessions where people come in and there is a question tab, there's a chat tab, there is like polls, you know, we can bring people to the stage. And when I think of like, if this was going to be more immersive, what would that look like? How would that feel? And would that necessarily make it more interesting for people? Would it make people more engaged? If that means that I'm sitting here with a mouse, kind of like moving a character around, you know, I have tried that, where you know, where I've gone into, let's say, a metaverse like environment, and there are these characters that are kind of moving around, and I see their names above them, and they're like, hey, come here to us, you know, to this other side of the pond, and you know, we are in the river. And I'm like, where are you guys? Where are you? Where do I find you? And they're like, we are here, you know. And it felt so clunky. And I didn't go back, right? So what do you say to anybody who might say that the experience isn't quite there yet, and just spending the time on developing something around that, putting in the effort and the resources behind it, does it necessarily add anything to my bottom line?
Yeah, so I would say it really depends. I think what we always try to advise our clients on is pick the platform that really is best for your audience. And it sounds like you went to a platform that maybe, you know, you're not the target audience of that platform. And certainly some of them are clunky. I'm not going to lie and say they're not. I think that's where I think, you know, there's a little bit of a learning curve on our side, but there's also a technology curve on the other side where people need to make things a little bit more seamless. Everyone talks about how Web3 has like a major UX problem, right? And so I think we specifically with our Swivel Meta platform have really focused on accessibility and, you know, an intuitive platform that is suitable for all types, generations, and there's a couple of tools and features that we focus on to make that you know, to make that happen. So for example, we've been working with an athlete brand, and you know, they simply just told us, I forget how to use the WASD keys. I don't know how to move forward and turn around and all of those things. Can I have someone go in, learn about my, you know, learn about my program, see my products, but not necessarily have to navigate themselves? And there's absolutely solutions for that. There's auto tour solutions, there's presentation modes where you can simply, whether it's on your phone or your desktop, you know, click a button from a website and it'll take you into this experience and automatically tour you around. We also think that's a great tool if you're just going to a concert or a DJ event in the, you know, in these immersive experiences where maybe you don't want to socialize, or maybe you only want to socialize with your friends. And so we also create experiences that can be private so that they don't have to be with a public audience. Maybe you don't want strangers walking around you or dancing around you. You only want to experience it with your friends and family. And therefore you can just create a copy of that experience, still see it live. And so there are different tools and various features we're enabling to make sure that you don't have to be so savvy in the navigation or you know how to play a game. I never played video games in my life, and I can thoroughly enjoy multiple platforms that are immersive.
Nice. Okay. So can you tell me how you see AI as it is now, like things like Stable Diffusion, things like, you know, Midjourney, Dolly, or the fact that people can actually start thinking about, you know, like, and actually they can start to describe a scene, and it can create it for them. How do you see this this actually impacting your business model in the future?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, one of the big things we have on our roadmap is just co-creation. So, you know, enabling brands to, you know, co-create with their audience, right? So like Brittany said, you know, if you're a brand, you have a virtual experience with us, I can have a private experience of that to share with my friends and family, right? And I can bring them in, and the brand can put something in there to help me co-create with them, right? And I can work with my friends and family, and the AI can feed that. If you're doing imagery or stuff like that, we can integrate that into the whole co-creation experience and create new ideas for the brand, so they can get these ideas from their community within these experiences, right? Create all the art or whatever they have going on with their brand. So that's definitely one way we're thinking about, and it's on our roadmap to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think
Co-creation is big, I think.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was about to say, that I think that co-creation is the next thing, right? Like in terms of being able to, because for example, early days of the internet, you would go to, say, Facebook, everybody had the same wall, the same look, right? Yeah. And it was only if you went and created your own website that you could have a different look, right? So I wonder if more and more, as people are kind of like they're enabled to create these different types of visuals and experiences, whether they're going to expect that. And I think that's one of the things that's interesting about the idea of a metaverse, is that each person can create their own environment, right?
Personal. So if I give you a private copy, I can give you, the ability to customize parts of it, and you can use AI to customize parts of it in addition to your NFT, PFPs, and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. How do you see your business model being disrupted by the new technologies that are coming out with these types of, yes, co-creation is a part of it, is great, and that's somehow, that's one way that you can actually incorporate that. But do you see a world where this can also be disrupted, because things are moving so fast? So in the past, it was like you would create a business model and you would have a certain amount of time before something else came along and disrupted it. But right now, it feels like everything is moving so fast that it's becoming harder and harder to have any form of longevity. So as where you are now in relation to where the metaverse is, do you already have any kind of visibility in terms of what would be the next wave that might disrupt that?
Well, I mean, I'll try to answer it this way. The way we think we're going to be disruptive is we're maniacally focused on marketers, right? And we don't believe there's a platform out there right now that is really focused on the tools that marketers need to go leverage the immersive web and campaigns. There's a lot of platforms out there that are really focused on creators, which is awesome, right? And they give tools to the creators so they can, create, experiences in Blender and upload them. But nobody's really focused on marketing, and everybody's going to win when mainstream companies get in, right? And we think the way we're going to be disruptive is really focusing on marketers, enabling them to get in. And then the next wave will be, like you said, all the AI stuff and the co-creation and just being able, as a marketer to have thousands of experiences out there that my audience owns themselves and can be able to tailor and customize and connect with me and have that direct connection. It's the most direct connection you can have almost with the customers, when you have that digital connection, and that can be in virtual spaces. And you can, communicate directly with them, get feedback from them. So that's kind of where we see the next wave, of that happening.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think AI in particular is going to disrupt us in a positive way, right? Right now, we invest a lot of time in customizing spaces for brands, and designing it very meticulously around, translating their brand into these experiences. With AI and the ability to create, different textures, different assets so quickly, that's going to accelerate our ability to not only initially create these environments, but to evolve them over time and, improve the long-term value of those environments. So I think we're looking forward to that more than anything else. Just want to do it in a way that's effective. And most of our model is really about supporting live experiences, keeping them live, and hosting those. So I think we're less concerned about the impact to design and more focus on just supporting good, strong experiences.
Got it. How resource heavy is your work? Like, right now, let's say if a company comes to you, how many people are working on creating an environment for each company?
Typically 3. There's a design lead, a more technical lead, if you will, or dev lead, to make sure that all of the interactive features are functioning the way we want them to, and then myself to really oversee both, the creative and technical execution. So it's pretty lean and mean. We can roll these out as little as 2 weeks, because we've been involved in this 3D immersive content for so long. We've developed a great platform for us to develop these experiences. So most of the time is really just spent engaging with the clients and helping them create their vision for the experience. It's a new world, right? I equate it a lot to building in the real world, because you still have to do the programming of different space types, what kind of content you want in them, and then visualize that in 3D. It's just like building a house or office or anything else. I actually came from the commercial real estate world and spent my time translating brands into physical spaces, and now I do that with virtual spaces. So it's a really exciting job for a lot of us. We have a lot of former architects on our team, but it's a lean and mean delivery.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
the other thing is we're building a platform that provides our creators with tools to do stuff even faster. Every iteration, it goes faster and faster.
Yeah. And the point is for us to do that, upfront work, but for really the marketers or the brand themselves to maintain that experience and be able to keep the content fresh with our tools not having to come back to us. So, really that's where the long-term value is them being able to self-manage that experience, both through the content, but also through the data insights they get. Who's accessing the experience, where are they coming from, what's in their wallet, and really helping them evolve that experience to target who they really want to target and learn more about their community and their brand enthusiasts.
Got it. Okay, last question. So let's talk a little bit about attention. The biggest, I suppose, challenge for any brand right now is holding people's attention. How do you think this new environment will enable them, empower them to maintain people's attention? I'm assuming that nowadays, because the whole metaverse kind of environment is not yet ubiquitous, everybody using it. Once people come in, I suppose the first challenge is getting people coming in. And once you get people in, to some degree, it's fairly maybe easy. You correct me if I'm wrong, to keep their attention. But to what degree do people come back? And when they are there, once it starts to get busy, how do you see the attention war kind of unfolding?
Yeah, so attention-wise, once you get them in there, the beautiful thing about these immersive experiences, and you can take them on a journey to tell the story, much different than looking at a 2D web page, right? You can, I've seen ones where, depending on the program you're running, you can tell the whole story of the program and just immerse people in that, story with their friends and family. And keep them in there and guide them on a journey, right? That's nice and slow, and give them little gamification type things or quizzes or things to do along the way that's really fun, and give them an NFT, and when they come back they get a different, more personalized experience, for example. And so those types of things will keep the attention, and running the regular campaigns in there. So once someone comes into your experience for the first time, they can get notified the next campaign that you have, and come back in for a different experience and get different benefits and experiences.
Yeah, I would say, as I think about this, I think one mistake that people make is they were equating the attention people had to the metaverse to gaming experiences, right? Kids spend hours and hours in gaming experiences, but we're really looking at it as how much time do they spend on a website versus these immersive experiences. And when you compare it that way, I am much more likely, if I'm virtual shopping or I'm going to a concert, I am much more likely to spend more time in an immersive experience than I am on a website watching a video, right? The fact that I can meet other people or just even see something real time from, maybe it's the founder of of the brand, or a designer of the brand, or, a celebrity or influencer that's there. I would much rather hang around and see what they're going to do, and, explore what drops or what products they're going to launch in that experience, than just see a video or an image on a website and, have to click 20 times to figure out, how much it cost, and, all see all the different views of that product or whatever it is. So I think when you equate those two things, there's just so much more to offer in the immersive web, and certainly a lot of interest from people in having those experiences.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I think that's part of it kind of worries me, because when you think about how something like even YouTube Shorts or TikTok, the way that is sort of, it is, oh my God, it is so capturing that it's like, it really draws you in, and it's so hard to get out of it that's why I just never look at TikTok, because I'm like, this thing is impossible, because it literally just scroll it right now, like even scrolls it for you, so you don't even have to do the scrolling, right? And I can only imagine how that will be in a metaverse like environment, because once that becomes so sticky, you are spending all of your time in there, and it's going to be extremely difficult, to get out of it. But we're not there yet, and I think that any brands that capture that and succeed in nailing that, they are going to do really well. And any of those that come in later are probably going to struggle, just like the brands that were late to social media struggled.
Late to social media or late to e-commerce. All of those, I think, are the ones now that are diving in first, which is great to see. And hopefully they don't miss it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people learn their lesson from being late to the party on those waves, and now they see an opportunity. But I suppose it's like anything else. It requires a leap of faith at this stage, and to dedicate the resources to put yourself in the right position to do that. And then it's a case of, because in most cases with these things in a company, it's not one person that makes that decision. There are a ton of people, and then it's a question of whether there's one person who really gets it, who can then convince the other people to dedicate the time, the money, the budget, all that stuff. Right. Any last words? Where can people find you? What's your kind of call to action in terms of what you want people to take away from this? Maybe if you could both comment on that very briefly, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll just comment. Again, I'll say it's not hard to get in, right? So you don't need a big new budget or to hire new staff. You can do it with the existing staff today, just like you're doing it with your 2D content. And most people don't realize that. They think because of all the press and everything that it's really hard and really expensive, and it's not. To start learning, it's important, and you don't have to have a big new budget and new staff to start learning.
Yes, we're at SwivelMeta.io. We'd love to chat with anyone who's interested in learning more or exploring, what their use case could be for an immersive experience. I think just to leave everyone with, one thing to think about is just start learning now, start, internal projects now to get your staff familiar with it. You don't, like Wade said, you don't have to augment your entire team. We really try to make this a light lift with a high ROI, and we'd love to talk to anyone who's interested.
Thank you so much. That's I'm sure that a lot of people will find that very helpful.
Thank you so much, Somi.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Brittany and Wade from Swivel Meta. I would love to know your thoughts on the subject, so please do share your opinions and thoughts on the present and future state of the metaverse with me in the comments on YouTube. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe to it on Apple, Spotify, or any other one of your favorite podcast channels. And don't forget to give it a 5-star rating and write a review. The full interviews are also available on my YouTube channel, The Somi Arian Show.